Still 5 below right now in the Twin Cities. 7 below in St. Cloud. Bemidji, 12 below.
If people don't need to travel, then don't travel. It's bitterly cold out there. But if you do, take those precautions.
The temperatures that we're going to have and the wind chills, the minus 10, minus 20 degrees, it only takes a matter of minutes before frostbite can start to set in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Mandy!
Yeah, man, we're doing it. Minnesota in January. I'm an idiot. What am I doing here? What are you doing here? Are you guys feeling good? Love it. I love to hear that. I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling chill. And that's huge for me. That's been my goal for a while now. I've been trying to make myself feel more chill, which is a cooler way of saying I was recently put on mood stabilizers. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know what they do scientifically. My psychiatrist says the goal is to turn my moods into vibes. So I'm just kind of vibing out 24/7, doctor's orders. Mood stabilizers are great. I know they work because the first or second week I started taking them, my wife and I, we went to Joshua Tree in California. I don't know if anyone here has been to Joshua Tree, but it's a dog shit town in the middle of the desert. Our last night in Joshua Tree, I looked at my wife and I was like, babe, it's our last night here. I'm gonna splurge a little. I'm gonna get takeout from the best restaurant in Joshua Tree. So I did a little research on Yelp, drove into town, got takeout from this beautiful little Italian restaurant they have there called Domino's Pizza. So I walk into this Domino's, there's already a man in line. So I stand behind him, I sort of nod at him, indicating I'm chill now. Take your time. And this man is just staring at the menu for so long. In his defense, there are 6 things. So he was overwhelmed by the menu. And eventually he looked at the young woman behind the counter and he went, excuse me, miss, do you guys make margarita style? And the young woman behind the counter, she was like, no, I'm sorry, we don't serve alcohol here. And this guy is so condescending, he was like, no, margarita style. That's how we eat pizza on the East Coast. And I was like, hatred confirmed, And this girl, she's trying her best. She goes, okay, well, can you tell me what margarita style pizza is? Because maybe I can make something similar for you. And he went, oh, I don't know. I don't know what it is. And it didn't stop there. They just kept talking. It was 6 or 7 more minutes of these 2 fucking morons trying to figure out what he thinks margarita-style pizza might be, hypothetically. And what he ended up ordering was so insane. He ordered a large Pacific Supreme pizza with pineapple, okay? Crazy, especially when I tell you it does not come with pineapple. He added pineapple. Because in his head, he was like, I think that's what makes it margarita style, But I handled it really well. I really kept it together. All I did was every 30 or 40 seconds, I would just take a deep breath and go, just the most passive-aggressive sigh you've ever heard in your life. But for me, that's growth. Do you know what I'm saying? I hate to think what would have happened in that Domino's if I went in there unmedicated. The moment he added pineapple to his pizza, I would have been like, mm-hmm. And I would have walked over to the door and locked it, And then just held the Domino's hostage. I would have put a pizza slicer to his neck, waited for police to arrive. And then I make the police negotiator tell this guy through the window that he just wants a fucking cheese pizza. That's all he wants. He wants a cheese pizza with a little basil on top. He's too stupid to know he wants a cheese pizza. So anyway, I'm chill now. It feels great. I'm back. I have been doing a thing, though, that is very fun. It's when I'm around my friends, I will start using common phrases with them, but I'll say them 5% wrong and wait to see if anyone calls me out on it. It is thrilling, right? Like, I was with some friends the other day, and we were trying to agree on a place to eat lunch together, and everyone was bickering about, like, distance and parking and all this stuff, and I just snapped at them, and I was like, guys, we will cross that bridge when we come on it, all right? For real, I am so hungry I could eat out a horse, so can we just, like... we just pick a restaurant? God damn. And then one of my friends was like, let's just go to Chipotle. And I was like, yes, Chipotle, fine. Like, at least someone made a decision. That is such a load on my back. So let's... Like I said, I'm married. My wife is great. My wife rules. She's patient with me. She's the weirdest person I've ever met. My wife is so bizarre. Like, my wife says things once a day that out loud I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I think my favorite example of this was about 5 years ago. My wife and I, we were in a rental car in Wyoming. Jealous? We were in a Buick Enclave in Wyoming, listening to satellite radio. We were listening to a station called Lithium. Okay, a couple nods. Lithium is the station that only plays 90s alt rock. Okay, yeah, so of course, at some point, a song by the band Bush came on the radio. This guy nods. Yeah. I like seeing Bush fans in crowds because they are kind of smug about it. Like, I can tell just from your demeanor that you're like, just to yourself, you're just thinking like, I bet it was Glycerine. The song he was listening to, I bet it was Glycerine. Yeah, so we're listening to Glycerine. Halfway through the song Glycerine, my wife turns to me and she's ecstatic. She's so excited. And I'm like, what's up? And she goes, Joe, did you know the day I went to my first Bush concert was also the day I tried mayonnaise for the first time? And I was driving, and obviously in my head, I was like, how could I possibly know that, you know? But out loud, I was like, that's incredible. Tell me everything. My wife proceeds to tell me truly the longest story I've ever heard in my life about when she was 12 years old. She and all her friends, they were huge fans of this band Bush, and they bought tickets to this big Bush concert, Big Bush, and... when the day arrived, they were so excited, they all jumped into her friend's mom's minivan, and her friend's mom drove them to the arena for this concert, but they got there hours early. Like, the gates weren't even open yet. So her friend's mom parked the van outside the arena, and as they waited, her friend's mom opened up a Tupperware container on the passenger side seat and started handing all the girls in the van sandwiches, pre-made sandwiches, because the mom knew she needed fuel. They needed fuel for this big Bush concert. So my wife takes a sandwich, and we should be clear, at this point in time, she is not my wife, okay? She's just a 12-year-old Bush fanatic in Connecticut. She takes the sandwich, and she bites down on the sandwich, and immediately she realizes that this sandwich in particular is much more moist than any other sandwich she's ever eaten up until that point in her life. But she doesn't want to be rude, so she swallows this weird, wet sandwich. And as she swallows, she has to admit that whatever this wetness is has a sort of pleasant, unctuous taste. She recognizes that. She's finished swallowing. She kind of panics. She looks at her friend's mom and she screams, "What's the wetness? What's the wetness in the sandwich?" And her friend's mom obviously was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What's the wetness?" And the friend's mom was like, "That's mayonnaise. Have you never had mayonnaise?" And my wife was like, "No, what? That's mayonnaise? Oh no, am I someone who likes mayonnaise? I think I like mayonnaise." So yeah, that's the short version of her story. So her story ends, and I don't know how to respond, and that's a problem, right? I can tell she's waiting for me to say something in response, but I'm not doing it right. So there's just this tension building in the Buick Enclave we're in. And after like 20 seconds or so, she gets annoyed, and she snaps at me, and she goes, hello, Joe? What was the day you first tried mayonnaise? Expecting me to have like an equally powerful story. You know that touchstone moment in all our lives where we vividly remember eating mayonnaise for the first time? I love her so much. I'm lucky to be with her. She is mean. She's mean to me. I'm a professional comedian. That's important to remember. My wife recently told me that the funniest thing I do is the way I throw up. She said that. And that's hurtful. What hurts most is like she might be right. It is objectively funny how I throw up. I am very bad at throwing up. Part of the problem is that I don't do it a lot. I throw up every like 2.5 years. So I've thrown up fewer than 10 times in my adult life, okay? So I don't have a lot of experience. When it goes down, it's absolute bedlam. It's crazy. And also, what makes it worse for me personally is every time I throw up, I know hours ahead of time. You know what I mean? I'll burp. You know those weird burps? I'll be like, oh no, today's the day. And I just like pace around my house waiting for the vomit to come up. I'm like, when's it coming? When's it coming? And then once it's clear I'm about to vomit, I know I have about 10 seconds to run to a toilet. So this is my process, okay? I run to the toilet, I kneel down in front of the toilet, and the first thing that I do is I scream. I just scream into the toilet, nothing else. Just a dry, horrified scream. Has anyone here screamed into a toilet? It's unpleasant. It just reverberates back, blows your hair. And then I just do that for a while, right? I just scream, and it's like not a fun scream. It's like animalistic. It's horrifying. Like I can't even replicate it. I'll try my best. This is what I do. I go, oh! Thank you. Oh, thank you. So I do that for a while. Like it's sort of tantric. I just breathe in and scream and scream and scream. And it's about 30 screams or so. Each scream, I feel the vomit kind of ratchet up a bit. So after about 30 screams, it hits the surface, and I always, every single time, I get the angle wrong. So I continue screaming. It's clear, let's be clear, I'm never not screaming. So I'm screaming and screaming as vomit starts to shoot out my nostrils. So I got 2 jets of vomit shooting out my nostrils. No, I'll keep going. And so vomit shooting out my nostrils, I'm screaming, 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 and the screaming's so intense that I start coughing up blood. Okay, so I'm coughing up blood, screaming, vomit out my nose, and at some point I start crying. I start crying. It's not because I'm a bitch. It's purely pressure related. There's just so much pressure rushing to my head that tears start rolling down my face. And actually the pressure is so crazy that all the blood vessels around my eyes explode. So I have 2 black eyes, non-contact black eyes. I have 2 black eyes, crying, bleeding out my mouth, vomiting out my nose, screaming, screaming, screaming. And I don't even think I'm doing a good job describing this because it's so violent. Like with each scream, I'm slamming up against the toilet, right? So like by the end of it, I have a toilet bowl-shaped bruise on my chest. Vomit out my nose, screaming, blood, black eyes. And a little pee comes out. Okay, so a little pee comes out. Because I'm squeezing so hard. I'm like nearly breaking ribs. And every time, almost a minute in, every time I throw up, I shit myself. I'm shitting, peeing, crying, black eyes, nose, vomit, screaming, 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 bleeding. You know, there is a moment every time while this is happening where there is a voice in my head that's like, it would be cool if I came right now. You know what I'm saying? If I could come in that moment, that's all, to hit for the cycle, like that. That's all I need for my EGOT. That's what I'm looking forward to. I work in television. I watch a lot of television. I think I have a pretty refined taste in television, actually. I mostly watch a channel called A&E, which stands for Arts and Entertainment. It's very classy. My favorite show on A&E, maybe my favorite show of all time, is a TV show called Intervention. Okay? If you haven't seen Intervention, how do I describe it? Well, it's basically a prank show. And the way it works is a production company descends on some awful little town, and they are looking for a huge drug addict, right? And they find a drug addict, and they go up to him, and they're like, hey, man, we heard you're pretty good at taking drugs. And he's like, pretty good, I'm the best, you know? I'm a credit, it's all I do. And they're like, awesome, well, I mean, would you ever consider getting high on camera? And he's like, it would be an honor. And then for the first 40 minutes of every episode of Intervention, they just follow this guy around as he gets so high on camera, like incredible. Like every episode of Intervention, there is a moment where you're like, this guy is a pro. Like I have never been this high. In the third act, that's when things get real, right? The third act, the guy's comfortable doing drugs on camera. He's friends with the crew. And the main producer comes up to him and he's like, hey, so I don't know if you're open to this. It's just a pitch, but have you ever gotten like super high in a hotel conference room? And the addict's like, no, but that sounds dope. Let's do it. I'm down, right? And he walks into the hotel conference room all proud of himself, and then boom, it's all his friends and family. They hold an intervention for him. Fucking pranked, you know? It rules. My wife gave me a note on my stand-up recently, which I found interesting, you know? Because she's not a comic. She's like, well, I mean, she's like you people. And that's not an insult. I'm just saying, could you imagine? And I could tell she was trying to be helpful, right? She came up to me and she was like, hey, Joe, I've noticed something about your stand-up. You write a lot of jokes about having sex with animals. And I was like, what are you talking about? But then I thought about it in my head, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do have that pig joke. I have a horse joke. I used to do a long joke about eating out our dog. And that's not cool. I know that's not cool. That's not like a cool personality trait for your husband to have. So I told her, I was like, you're right, that's weird. I'll work on that. And she was like, thank you, and she went to bed. And I just found myself sitting there getting like defensive and angry because, you know, I was just sitting there like, you know, she's not wrong, but like, what the fuck does she know? Like, I'm the professional here. I do these jokes night after night. They fucking crush. So if anything, I'm writing jokes about a topic we've all thought about. Okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll rephrase, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's a topic, at the very least, it's a topic that we're all capable of thinking about. You know what? Okay, here's what I mean. This is just like a thought experiment, okay? Let's say after the show tonight, you go home, and as you're walking up to your front door, as you're putting the key into the lock, some lunatic runs up behind you. He puts a cold gun to your head, and he whispers in your ear. He goes, you have 3 seconds to tell me what animal you would have sex with, or I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. Okay, so that's the scenario. Oh, also important, he's an empath, so he'll know if you're lying, okay? So you can't lie to him. You have to tell him the truth. You have 3 seconds to tell him what animal you'd be okay having sex with. And see, what I like about this question is like whether or not you want to be a part of this ordeal, everyone in this room just thought of an animal they would have sex with subconsciously. You couldn't help it, and that's okay. I think that's cool. I think that's cool. That's what separates us from these animals we're gonna fuck. And it's okay. You can't get mad. Like you can't. These are just synapses firing. You can't explain why your animal is your animal. This is a no judgment zone, okay? So, sir, I guess we'll start with you. Blue jacket. Do you have? Wait, you haven't. You were ready to go. Okay, let's hear it.
I just thought monkey, maybe.
Monkey, great. I love that for you. Yeah. Give him a hand. He actually said... I love that. I'm not going to leave you hanging, okay? I'll do it too. So gun to my head. And we can't explain why. Beluga whale. What? I don't know. I don't know. Mine is beluga whale. I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it, you know? Like, I know they're butterfaces for sure, but... like, curvaceous, they're hairless, like, big DSLs. A beluga's forehead is just a fat ass cheek. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot there that is a plus. Yeah, and look, I know not everyone loves this material, and that's fine. I'm an acquired taste. A lot of people say my comedy is like jazz. Yeah, because it sucks. So I get it. I learned a lot about animals writing that last joke. I really did. This next thing's not even a joke. This is just my favorite animal fact. So you guys can take this with you tonight. This is a great fact, okay? Does anyone here know what animal has the smallest penis in the animal kingdom based on proportionality? Anyone? Any guesses, sir? Anything? No, I'm just like bullying you. Any guesses? Yell them out. Oh, okay. Well, someone yelled human, which is a huge cell phone. Holy shit. Bedbug, they're so small, they have to be hung. I'm sorry. So that, you said gorilla. Ding, 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 ding. That's the correct answer. Holy shit. Give him a hand. That's it. Yeah, that's true. It's a silverback gorilla. A silverback gorilla's erect penis is 1 inch long. You guys are not reacting the way you should be. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Like, truly, like, picture a gorilla. Now picture a inch. You know, that's heartbreaking. I love that. And, like, it is cool knowing that, like, right, fellas? Who's with me? Yeah, no, it is a confidence boost, for sure. And, you know, I'm a depressive person, right? So it is nice having that fact in my mind, because it's like, I just know that, like, on my worst day, at my lowest point, if I absolutely needed to feel better, I know I could walk into the jungle, have sex with a female gorilla, and bring her to a level of ecstasy that she's biologically never experienced before. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like 4 times bigger than anything she's ever experienced. I'd blow her fucking mind. Like, dude, all I'm saying is, like, I could dick down a gorilla if I wanted to, and I don't want to. I want to fuck a whale, okay? So, is anyone here in law enforcement? Great, okay, I'm gonna do this next thing. I was walking down the street recently in Los Angeles, which is unheard of. I was walking towards this fast food establishment, and it was kind of a scary scene. Outside of the fast food place, there were 9 sheriffs standing outside. And I knew they were sheriffs because every single article of clothing they had on said the word sheriff in giant yellow letters. Sheriff, 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 sheriff. And they were kitted up. It looked like they were ready to go into combat. It was scary. It was like they had helmets and bulletproof vests and giant guns. And one sheriff had a dog that was also a sheriff. But it was a scary scene. I was like, is this place about to get raided? Are bullets gonna start flying? Like, I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna cross the street just to be safe. And as I was about to cross the street, a 10th sheriff came out of the door of this In-N-Out holding a big tray of cheeseburgers. And I was like, oh, everything's fine. They're just like, you don't see that every day. Just 10 sheriffs eating lunch together, al fresco. I loved it. And look, I can already tell from you guys that, like, you seem like a protect and serve kind of crowd. So I know the notion of defunding the police is controversial. And we're not gonna settle that here this evening. But I do think, at the very least, can't we all agree we can defund the sheriff? The sheriff? What the fuck is a sheriff? How did we allow that to continue, you know? And I'm not saying all sheriffs are bad. Like, obviously, we need sheriffs to protect the Oregon Trail or whatever. But it's 2024. What are sheriffs doing now? Like, are people still cheating at cards? People making sarsaparilla without a license? Fuck out of here. Fake ass job. One sheriff, when I walked by, one sheriff had one of those Blue Lives Matter flags on his shoulder. You know, I'm sure you've seen those, the blue light, you know, the flag, the desecration of the American flag. So he had one of those, but none of the other guys had it. It was only him, and his was a little crooked. And I was like, oh my God, you did that yourself, you know? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, it filled me with joy, because I was like, oh, I think you have to, like, really picture what happened there, right? Like this guy was clocking out at the end of the day. He sees his uniform, and he's like, oh, the guys are gonna love this, you know? And he, like, drove home, and he opened the door, and he put TV on to football, and he sat down on his couch. Like, really, truly imagine it. Like, this domestic abuser with, like, a thimble on his finger, and he's sewing away. But truly, like, imagine being a grown man. Your alarm clock goes off in the morning. You get out of bed. You walk to your closet. And you put on your sheriff costume with a shiny sheriff star. And then you get in your sheriff car and drive to the sheriff store. It's fucking humiliating. It really is. Because it's like, bitch, you're not a sheriff. You know? There's only one sheriff in town. You are not he. Like, and I hate to put it this way, but like, what kind of cuck bitch walks around with his boss's job title across his chest, all proud of himself like he did anything? The sheriff's elected. No one knows why. I love voting for sheriff. That's my favorite thing to do in a democracy, right? I walk into the booth, I see two names that mean nothing to me. And then what I do is I say both names out loud, and whichever name sounds more likely to kick my door down and shoot my dog in the head, that's who I vote for. Okay, this next joke, I'm gonna apologize before I do it. Because I'll admit, it was written from a very cis hetero perspective. So buckle up. But here's something I've noticed about women. Straight women. So any lesbians in here can relax. But here's what I noticed about straight women. For straight women, tall is boobs. Tall is boobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's what I mean. Women treat tall men with the exact same level of superficiality, the exact same, like, brain-dead tractor beam energy that men treat big breasted women. And it's fucked up. We have to talk about this, you know? We have to have a national conversation. It's not okay. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, all you have to do is watch one episode of that show, The Bachelorette. Have you ever seen The Bachelorette? Every episode's the same. She goes on a date. It cuts to her interview. And she's like, oh my God, Preston's incredible. He's so handsome. He's so funny. He's got a great smile. And he's tall. And I love that he's tall. Because my dad is tall. So I'm just used to tall men. You know, we've been conditioned to think that's an okay, acceptable thing to say out loud. It is not. It's fucking psychotic. Imagine if The Bachelor acted that way. The Bachelor goes on a date. It cuts to his interview. He's like, yeah, dude, Kelly was cool as hell. Like, she's really cute, great smile. She has all her teeth. She's fucking stacked. Did you see that? Holy shit. I was looking at them all night like, God damn, they're huge. They're so huge. And I like that, you know? Yeah, because my mom has fat tits, you know? So I like that. Makes me feel safe. And it's not like I'm bitter, all right? I'm 5'9", so it's not like I'm a fucking A cup, all right? I'm fine. I'm a B cup. I'm a perky B cup, all right? I'm 5'9". Despite that, my life is very good. I have a great life. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but this is just for context, just so you understand. Like, I am a homeowner in Los Angeles. I have a hot tub. What else? I'm a father to a special needs pit bull. I have an Emmy. You know what I'm saying? Like, things are very good. Oh, thank you. It is a daytime Emmy, so chill. It doesn't count. My life is very good, but I always think to myself, at least once a day, I always have this intrusive thought that's like, your life would be better if you were tall. Like, I know that to be true. And I'm not talking like a little taller. I'm talking like a full foot taller, at least. Like, can you imagine if I was 6'9"? That would be incredible. My life would be so much better. I would give up, like if someone, a wizard, it would have to be a wizard. If a wizard came up to me and was like, Joe, would you give up everything you have for the ability to dunk a basketball? I'd be like, yep. You know, I'd be like, he wouldn't even be able to finish his question. I'd be like, yeah, you know, I've been waiting for this, you know? And then I'd be moving the process along for him. I'd like grab my dog, start drowning my dog in my hot tub, club him in the head with my Golden Globe. I have a Golden Globe also. And yeah, so absolutely, I'd give up anything. I mean it too. Like, I've had people ask me, like, you don't mean that. Like, you wouldn't leave your wife. And I'd be like, in a second. Absolutely, I would. I don't want to. I love her. We've been together for a long time, but like, I've wanted to dunk a basketball since I was 4 years old. You know what I mean? Like, between her and dunking, she can kick rocks, you know? And she knows this. I tell her every day. I don't know what I would do with myself if I could dunk a basketball. It would consume my life. Like, I would run to the park with a basketball and I would just dunk and 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 dunk. It would be crazy. I'd forget to eat. I'd forget to sleep. They'd have to put me on intervention, like, for real. Like, at some point they'd be like, have you ever dunked in a hotel conference room? I'd be like, no, but I'm fucking down. I'll windmill that shit. Are you kidding? Dude, I love basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I really do love the way they dribble up and down the court. It's been my favorite thing as far back as I can remember. Like, I don't think that's normal to love the same thing from 4 years old to 40. That's crazy, uninterrupted. And I've loved basketball the same way my entire life, where I'm obsessive. I'm always trying to like memorize statistics. I'm always trying to find like who is going to become the next big superstar in the NBA, right? And I just turned 40, and I did an audit of my Instagram account recently. I follow like 300 teenage boys. Like, you know, like muscular, athletic, desperate teenage boys. That can't be good. Yeah, man. I'm a fan of the Minnesota Timberwolves, which, yeah. I mean, I know you guys get it, but in most places, when I tell people I'm a fan of the Timberwolves, it's like telling someone I'm a cutter. You know what I'm saying? They're like, what? Are you okay? And it's like, not really, no. Does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts a lot, but I get off on it. They've been bad my whole life, but this year they're very good, and it's very exciting. And a lot of that is due to this guy on the Timberwolves, this guy named Anthony Edwards. He's so good at basketball. He's such a muscular boy, and I love him. I was visiting my parents recently, and I was telling my mom about the Timberwolves, and I was telling her about Anthony Edwards, how much I loved him, and I got kind of carried away, because at one point I was like, Mom, for real, I would jump in front of a bullet to save his life. That's how good he is at basketball. My mom was like, what? And my mom's never heard me talk about anyone this way. And I could tell she was a little jealous, because she went, well, what about me? And I was like, what about you? She was like, would you jump in front of a bullet to save my life? And then I'd be like, yes, Mother, I'd jump in front of a bullet to save your life. She didn't love my level of sarcasm, because she followed that with a truly insane hypothetical, right? My mom went, okay, Joe, let's say I was standing on the street next to Anthony Edwards. And I was like, Mom, that's the coolest thing you've ever done. And she's like, okay, and let's say someone shot a gun in our direction, and you could jump in front of the bullet to save one of our lives. Who are you gonna save, me or this Anthony Edwards? And I looked at her and I was like, Mom, you know that's unfair. That's so manipulative. You're my mother, I love you, you brought me into this world. You've lived a long life. I don't know what to tell you. What, you want me to save you and let this beautiful boy die with his whole life ahead of him? Absolutely not. It's like, Mom, you did it. You raised 2 kids, you were a federal judge, you retired. None of those things has gotten me any closer to winning an NBA championship. Like, sorry. It's like, Mom, you have no jump shot, your handles are trash. Like, if my mom tried to play defense in the NBA, she'd get fucking cooked. Like, her ankles would break. She has osteoporosis. That's part of it. One of the only things I truly care about other than basketball is gun control. I hate guns. But I know that, like, whichever way you stand on that issue, I think we can all agree that it would be wonderful if we could figure out a way to stop mass murder from happening, right? I think that's something we can all agree on. But I think when I say that, what I mean is we need to, as a society, we need to find a way to control how outrageously fun it is to shoot a gun. That is the main problem with guns, is they're absolutely so fun. It's crazy. I hate guns. I can't stress that enough. I have shot 3 guns in my life, okay? 3 of the top 5 experiences I've had on planet Earth. It's crazy. If you're shot a gun, you feel like a god. And I've always done it responsibly. I've always been at a shooting range, following the rules. But even in that situation, like, there is a voice in your head. You're like, I could kill everyone here, Like, I'm invincible. And that is fun. That is cool. So, like, that, I do understand gun ownership. But I think that's why we'll never have true gun control in this country, is because the people who own lots of guns, people who hoard guns, that is very clearly the most fun thing in that person's life. And that person is not going to willingly give up their most fun possession to the government unless they get something more fun in return. So I do think that's sort of the issue we face as a generation, is can we create something that is more fun than shooting a gun? And I've put a lot of thought into this. And I think the answer, I'm being 100% sincere when I say this, I think the answer is sex dolls. Yeah. And I feel the hesitancy in this room. And I think that's fine, because I think you think I'm talking about modern day sex dolls. No, like real dolls. Have you seen real dolls? Those like rubber O-face, like rigor mortis, like, Like, has anyone here fucked a real doll? Yeah, me neither. No, what I'm describing, like, this could be our generation's Apollo mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our moonshot. Like, what we need to do is get our best scientists and engineers together to work on creating a sex doll that is so powerful, so pleasurable, that when you have sex with this sex doll, a super sex doll, the moment you finish, your brain instinctively is like, I gotta fuck this doll again. right? Because if we can create one of those, then we get the government involved and we can create one sex doll for every man in the United States. That's the goal. Not even man. Like, honestly, if we want to do it right, you got to start young. Like you're 11, you get your first sexual boner. The government's alerted. It's not weird. The day after your first boner, a letter shows up at your house from Joe Biden being like, "Hey, man, heard about that hard-on, my guy. Congrats." Other side of the letter from Joe Biden is a confidential form, right? It's just you and the scientists. And you fill out the form describing your ideal sexual mate, right? And it's no one's gonna see it, it's just you. So you can be fully honest. It's like whatever gender, whatever race, whatever species, you're good. You send it to the government. A couple weeks later, a giant box shows up to your house. You open it up. It's your ideal sexual partner. You're immediately horny, obviously. You take the doll out, you run with it to your bedroom, you put the doll on your bed, and then obviously, you fuck the doll. I think that would end gun violence in the United States. I really do. And if you're not clapping, all I have to ask you is, if you think about it, no one's ever shot up a school and fucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the fucking is the critical missing piece there. And it shouldn't be incumbent on us to fuck these unfuckable freaks. So give them a doll to fuck so we don't all die in the crossfire. And the reason I say every man should get one is because it's only men who commit these acts of mass murder. So we're just playing it safe, okay? I think the logic is sound. Like, not only would this end gun violence, I'm confident it would solve the climate crisis. I really do. I really do think that. Because all we would have to do is figure out a way to plug the dolls into the electrical grid. And we're... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, again, this isn't weird, but picture every man and boy in the United States jacking off into the grid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that pumping action, are you kidding me? That is so much more reliable than wind or solar. That's an unstoppable force right there. We're gonna have a surplus of energy. We won't know what to do. We'll have so much energy we'll have to like shoot it into socks or something. Look, I don't think the Green New Deal goes far enough. This is my cream New Deal. I'm running for Senate. Thank you. Thank you so much. That might be my most contentious joke. That's the joke I get confronted about the most after shows, often from women. JK, only from women. I don't know what that's about. One woman followed me to my car the other night in Los Angeles, which was, a role reversal. And I turn around, there's this woman standing behind me. She was so mad at me about that joke. She was like beet red. She could barely get her words out. She was like, "Hey, how come men get the sex dolls? How come women don't get sex dolls?" And I had to look at her. I was like, "Yo, maybe you will." Eventually, Jesus. I was like, I'm trying to end gun violence in this country. What, you're just trying to bust a nut? Get woke. Sorry to get political like that. Any Nazis here tonight? What's going on? Any Nazis? Nazis are crushing it, huh? They're back, baby. Nazis are back. I'm Jewish. I hate them. I hate Nazis. They're my mortal enemy. Can't stand them. They suck. But I will say, I will give it up. I will give them credit for one thing. These new Nazis, they are legit good at one thing. They're good at branding. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Nazis have somehow conditioned us to call them by the names they prefer to be called. Right? So when there's a group of Nazis, we all know they're Nazis, but instead we'll describe them as Proud Boys or Patriot Front or St. Louis Cardinals fans. We know you're Nazi. Just say you're Nazi. Man, I can't get scared of these new Nazis. Like, they're such pussies. Like I love when they like have their little parades, you know, where like all the Nazis get together with their khakis on and they got the torches. You know, you've seen that, right? And they like parade around and they're like, Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace us. I love that. I wish I could be across the street from those guys when they're doing it with a bullhorn, just like, no shit. Yeah, literally none of us know how to drive a forklift or whatever your dumbass job is. Yeah, dude, I can't get scared of Nazis. I can't get scared of Russia. Like, Russia's back in a big way. Any Russians here tonight? I might be speaking to my own ignorance, but anytime I read news about Russia, I think, wait, what is Russia? You know? Like, I know it's a country, but if I close my eyes and try to picture Russia, here's what I see. I see like 14 time zones of barren, frozen farmland, and then there's that one building that looks like candy. What? I'm supposed to be scared of this place? It's the wackest country on earth. So dumb. Russia's so dumb. And I got friends who are convinced Russia's like gonna kill us, that they're the enemy. And I'm like, why? And they say, well, because they hacked us, they'll hack our power grid. And I don't even understand that. I'm like, how do you hack in Russian? Like, what does that keyboard even look like? It's like backwards K, upside down P, 3 is a vowel. Fuck out of here, that dumbass language. Can't get scared of that. You know, and I know a lot of people who think that Russia is the reason Trump got elected in 2016, and I don't think that. But I do think they helped in 2016. I do think they helped right at the end. Like, they hacked everyone's uncle's Facebook page, and that, like, kinda did it. And that is so funny. I think enough time has passed that we can all admit that is funny, that Russia did that. And you're not gonna like this next thing, but I remember watching the results on election night 2016, and I was like, damn, Russia, I have not been this impressed with a foreign adversary since 9/11. What if that was my last joke? Thank you, guys. Thank you, good night. No, I'll explain myself. Here's what I mean. I was a freshman in college when 9/11 happened. So I saw the whole thing unfold live on TV, on CNN, and it was traumatic. It was scary, obviously. But there was a voice in the back of my head the whole day that was like, damn, Al-Qaeda, A+. It's been 23 years, okay? Like, enough time has passed that we can say they crushed it. Al-Qaeda crushed it. They got both towers and the Pentagon with like 3 X-Acto knives. That's fucking incredible. That's like first ballot Hall of Fame shit. Like they're like the bad news bears. Like, how did they even end up in that? They're the worst news bears. Bin Laden must have been watching that shit on TV too. Like, what? We did it? Look, here's what I think is cool about 9/11. If you break down the story of 9/11 into its most elemental parts, it's a 3-beat story, okay? Osama bin Laden made a crazy bet. The bet paid off bigger than he could have ever dreamed. And then 10 years later, a bunch of dudes ran into his house and blew his fucking brains out. Right? So if you think about it, that's just a very long version of the movie Uncut Gems. And I think that's cool. I'm sorry. I'm a cinephile. All right, I'll go back to the basketball stuff. For this next thing, it'd be helpful for me if clap if you've ever been to a live basketball game. Great, love it. So you'll know what I'm describing here. So I love going to basketball games. It's my favorite thing. And my favorite thing within my favorite thing is something I'm sure you've seen. It usually happens between the first and second quarter. And what it is they grab a guy out of the stands, like some big idiot named Tim or whatever. And they hand Tim a basketball. And the announcer goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, if Tim makes this half-court shot, he's going home with a Kia Sorento." And Tim gets the ball, and he starts dribbling to hype up the crowd, and everyone in the crowd is like, I don't think Tim's played a sport, like, in his life. He's all uncoordinated. And then he, like, centers himself, takes a deep breath, and then he starts running towards the half-court line, and everyone's like, why is he running? He gets to the half-court line, and he throws the ball up, and it's the worst form you've ever seen. It's like underhand and sideways, spinning it like a bowling ball. And 999 times out of 1,000, the ball doesn't even reach the hoop, or even worse, it'll fly over the backboard, hit someone in the head. And I love that. It's so funny. The moment he misses, the loudspeaker is like, bwah, 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 right? And then everyone laughs at Tim. Everyone turns on Tim, and you get to see him like do the walk of shame, get back into his section and sit down, and everyone around him is like, you thought you were gonna win a Kia Sorento, you delusional asshole? It's so funny. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing in sports. But there is that one time out of 1,000, right? Where like Tim gets the ball, he starts dribbling. Everyone's like, I don't think he's played a sport. Takes a deep breath. He starts running. Why is he running? He throws the ball up. Worst form you've ever seen. But halfway up the parabola, it's perfect. Everyone in the crowd knows it's a perfect shot. Everyone looks around like, is he gonna do this? Is Tim gonna do this? And the ball descends and it swishes through the hoop. Doesn't even touch the rim. And it's pandemonium. It's crazy. Everyone's losing their mind. Like in that moment, you forget you're at a basketball game. You're at a Tim game. You know what I mean? You're so happy for Tim. He's losing his fucking mind. The guy walks over. They hand him the key to his new Sorento. Everyone's losing it. And it's that moment he lifts the key up to the sky. Everyone in the arena is cheering for him. It's that moment, that beautiful moment. That's what 9/11 was for Al-Qaeda. So now you get it. Here's another fun thing I was thinking about. I feel like my whole life, and maybe you feel this too, I feel like my whole life I have felt a pressure from society. And if I'm being honest, the pressure has come mostly from t-shirts and bumper stickers. But I feel like my whole life I've been told over and over again in some form or fashion that I have to support the troops. I know this is a touchy subject, and y'all can relax. I do, okay? Chill. I do support the troops. That's not what's going on here. I support the troops a lot. Like, first of all, I pay my taxes every year. I mean, that's the end of the list, but that does support them. I looked it up. But I'm not dumb. I know that's not the type of support the t-shirts expect of me. And I just find that frustrating that it's left unsaid. It's vague, it's unspecified. I would love to know what kind of support they mean. Because, like, if it's not financial, what the fuck are we talking about? You know what I mean? What is it? I guess it's emotional. Is that it? Emotional support? I don't know. I mean, like, if that's it, I'm down. Like, I don't know what that means either. How do you show emotional support from afar? Like, that's... I'm trying my best. I downloaded an app that I recommend. It's great. Every day at noon, it plays the Star Spangled Banner. And no matter where I am, it tells me where to face the Pentagon. And then I'm just sort of like... And I just send positive vibes to the Pentagon, and then the Pentagon can sort of distribute those vibes where needed. this is a touchy subject. I get it, because like there's a lot of people in the military. A lot of people are probably in here are in the military, have loved ones in the military. Here's the thing: there are 2 million people in the U.S. military right now. That is so many people to support emotionally. And I read something recently that I found disturbing. It said that at least 5% of the U.S. military right now is comprised of self-described, open, white nationalists, right? Like Nazis, like people who want me dead. You know me, the Hollywood cuck Jew. And so that is hard for me to support emotionally. Now, that said, do I support those men financially? You know I do, baby. You got to. You got to. You got to. You can't not. But it's just like a difficult thing to talk about, because it's not like I'm up here saying like, fuck the troops. I don't believe that. But also you can't buy a bumper sticker that says, I support some of the troops, you know? Actually, you can. They're on my website. No, but I've been really trying to like break it down. Like, who do I know I support for sure, right? And it's like probably most people in the military. Like I was breaking it down. I was like, okay, first of all, any veteran who needs any kind of health care, absolutely, like that's no question, duh. Then there's like anyone who joined the military in the hopes of like getting free education. Like I support that, free education for sure. You know those videos on Instagram where like a guy comes back from overseas? It's like usually at a football game and he reunites with his dog and his dog's so happy. So I support that. I like that every time. I travel a lot for work. I'm always at the airport, and before I can get on a plane, they're always like, if anyone's in the military, they can get on the plane first, and they walk by me. I never say shit. I'm always like, go right ahead. You know, I don't get it, but... Now, that said, if those guys got off the plane before me, I'd lose my fucking mind. I would go absolutely apeshit. And I suppose it's easy for me to talk this way about the military because I don't have any friends or family in the military. So that's my connection to it. I'm pretty detached, right? Like, when I think about it, the only real relationship I have with the military is like when I go through my high school yearbooks and look at all the dudes from my high school who went into the military. And look, all I can say, and this is with 100% confidence, we are not sending our best. We're just not. But I don't want to make it seem like I think I could be in the military. That is not what's going on here. Absolutely. I'm not getting through boot camp. Are you kidding me? Dude, 2 years ago, I had to go to a physical therapist because I got tennis elbow from holding my phone wrong. Okay, so I'm the biggest pussy in this room. I'm a pussy, I'm a freak, I'm a sicko. Can I tell you the grossest thing about me? This is the most repulsive thing about me. I'll be perfectly honest and vulnerable with you. I still do BuzzFeed polls. Oh, right? Every morning. First thing I do when I wake up, I don't even get my glasses on yet. I'm like, time to do a BuzzFeed poll, you know? I need to see which Supreme Court justice is my spirit animal or whatever. Oh, it's so gross. I hate it about myself. I hate that. I did a BuzzFeed poll earlier this year. I cannot stop thinking about it because it was the most vague question I've ever seen in my life. The question was just, what's the scariest thing? That's it. What's the scariest thing? And they had all these options you could choose from. It was like shark attack, bungee jumping, spiders. You know, it was like all these things. But the number one answer, by like a 40% margin, the number one answer was public speaking. Isn't that crazy? That means like what I'm doing right now is braver than being in the US military. Look, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying most people say that. You know what's crazy? I've only gotten beaten up once in my life. Isn't that Incredible? What a streak. How is that possible? I do that joke every night. Nothing. I think about the time I got beat up a lot, because it was a perfect crime. I weirdly have respect for the person who beat me up. I got beat up in 12th grade. I got beat up at the Minnesota State Fair by a Minnesota State Fair employee. Yeah. Every summer, my friends and I, we would go to the fair, go to the Midway. I'm sure you probably know, on the Midway, there's a sort of notoriously janky haunted house, right? So every year, my friends and I would go into this horrible, dilapidated haunted house, and we would roast it. You know what I'm saying? Just four boys criticizing the lighting, the set design, the acting, you know, real bad boy shit. So yeah, it was our senior year. It was like one of those high school movies, kind of bittersweet. We were like, we're all going to different colleges. This might be the last time we roast this haunted house together. We gotta savor this moment. And we walk in, and they go way faster than me. So I'm by myself, just criticizing left and right. And I turn a corner, and this guy dressed up as a werewolf gives the worst performance you've ever seen in your life. He jumps out. This is legit. He was just like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, come on, dude. I was like looking at him through the holes in his mask. I was like, that was the worst werewolf I've ever seen. And I've been to a lot of these, okay? You really got to step it up. That was pathetic. And he fucked me up. Like, he just kicked the shit out of me. It was crazy. He threw me against the wall. He's punching me in the ribs, slamming my head against the wall. Like, you know, and you never expect that from a werewolf. I was getting beaten up, and people were walking by. I was begging people, passersby, get this werewolf off of me. Please help me. Help me. I'm really getting hurt. Help me. No one would help me. And it took me so long before I realized, of course, no one's helping me, because they're turning the corner and they're just like, damn, they really stepped it up this year. That looked like a real werewolf attack. That little girl was really, really crying. So yeah, I know I talk a lot of shit on stage. I don't know what that's about. It's a complex I have, because in real life, I need you guys to know, as you're leaving tonight, I am a good boy, okay? I'm a good boy. Like, I follow the rules. I don't get in trouble. I've only been in trouble once in my life, honestly. I got suspended in 4th grade on some bullshit. I'm still mad about it. Here's what you need to know is when I was a kid, both my parents were lawyers. They were both trial attorneys. So one of the ways I got positive reinforcement as a kid was when I was at the dinner table and used a new big word in a sentence. And every time I dropped a big new word, my dad would look at me and he'd be like, very big word, congratulations. And I'd be like, thank you, Daddy. I do it for you. Whatever, we all have kinks as kids. That was my kid kink. So I was always on the hunt for big new words, right? And so one day I'm at recess, I'm at the monkey bars with my friend Francis, and Francis drops a word I've never heard before in my life. He uses the word masturbate in a sentence, and I'm like, damn, that's a good word, dude. Like, what's that word? What does masturbate mean? And to this day, I don't know if Francis was messing with me or if he was confused, but he looked me right in the eye and he said, masturbate means cheating. And I was like, got it. You know, I was like, no further questions. Locked and loaded. I cannot wait to use this big new word. And I'm in class a couple weeks later. I'm sitting across from this girl, Brittany. And I hate Brittany. Like to this day, I've never hated a person more than this girl, Brittany. She was awful for a million reasons, just a wretched, wretched creature. But the worst thing about Brittany to me was that she came from a family of hardcore evangelical missionaries. So every summer, she and her family would go to China and convert Chinese people, it sounded like against their will, to evangelical Christianity. And so she'd come back after summer break bragging about all these Chinese people she converted. Fucking gross. But the reason I hated her is because I was the only Jew in class. So every day at lunch, she tried to convert me to evangelical Christianity. And her sales tactic was fucking crazy. She'd throw her lunch tray in front of me. She'd get 2 inches from my face and she'd go, Joe, I know you're Jewish. You're gonna burn in hell. That's how she started. And I'd look right back at her and I'd be like, you know what? I hope I do, you bitch. So we had a real will they, won't they vibe, me and Brittany. So we're in class, right? Sitting across from each other. We're about to take a spelling test. So everyone's got their vocab sheets out. Everyone's memorizing these words for the spelling test. And I look up and I see Brittany, and she thinks no one's looking at her. She's got a little pen in her hand, and she's writing all the vocab words on the inside of her palm. Unbelievable. You know, like, what would Jesus do? Am I right? And so I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm like, this is unbelievable. She's not going to do what I think she's going to do. Test starts. You know, I crush it. Slam it down. And then for like 5 minutes, I watch Brittany. She thinks she's slick. Looking at her hand, writing all the words down. Unbelievable. And so when I thought the time was right, it was so dramatic. I stood up, but I'm like 3 feet tall. It wasn't good. So then, psycho move. I then stood up on my chair so I could point down at her. And at the top of my lungs, as I pointed, I was like, Teacher, Brittany's masturbating. I saw her masturbating. She's masturbating. And the teacher runs over. Miss Gonzalez, she's pale, right? She has no idea what's going on. She looks at me, she's like, what are you saying? And at no point do I think like, oh, I should use another word. I was like, I know this word, I know what it means. And I was like, look at her, she's masturbating. She masturbated the whole test. Like, look at her hand, it's all over her hand. For real, this happened. And, there's nothing in the teacher manual for this kind of scenario. So the teacher looks at Brittany, she looks at me, and then she tells me, like, get out of here, go to the principal's office. And I can't believe my ears. I'm like, wait, I'm in trouble? She's the masturbator. So I get kicked out. I have to go into the principal's office. I'm all upset. The principal looks at me. She's like, Joe, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, you know what? Great question, madam. I've never masturbated once in my life. Principal's like, okay, this is above my pay grade. So she called my dad. The principal called my dad. He was in court. I wish there were cameras in that courtroom. You know what I mean? The bailiff coming over to the judge nodding, slamming her gavel, like, court's in recess, Mr. Mandy, your son's a raving pervert. You need to go take care of that immediately. So my dad drove to school. He's in his like one nice suit. Comes into the principal's office. I'm on the principal's couch just crying, weeping. The injustice of the situation. My dad looks at me, he's like, Joseph, what the hell is going on? What happened? And that like little kid cry? I was like, Dad, you taught me we never masturbate in our family. My dad's like, I have no idea what that is in reference to. What's that? He's suspended? Yeah, he's suspended. And so my dad grabs me. We leave school. He throws me in the car. He's all confused, pissed off. We're driving home. Takes him a while, maybe 20 minutes or so. My dad sort of susses out what happened. And he looks at me and he's like, Joseph, you're not in trouble. I just need you to tell me what you think this word masturbate means. And I look up at it and I'm like, it means cheating, right? And my dad's like, well, it's sort of a gray area. Depends what you're looking at, how often you're looking at it. No, he didn't say anything. He just started laughing at me, which made me furious. I was like, this is no laughing matter. We get home. My mom is home. My mom asks my dad what happened. My dad explains everything to my mom. My mom starts laughing. My dad starts laughing again. Everyone's laughing. And I'm about to start crying. I'm just like, this isn't funny. I'm suspended, And my mom sees that I'm freaking out. And she goes, Joseph, it's okay. Sit at the dinner table. I'm going to make you a snack so you can calm down. So she made me quickly a sandwich and poured some orange juice. And she gave it to me. And I ate the sandwich. And yeah, so anyway, that's the day I tried mayonnaise for the first time. You guys have been awesome. Thanks so much for coming out. God bless you. God bless Anthony Edwards. And God bless the sheriffs. Thank you, guys.
Man 的公司